Morning.
Morning.
Welcome back to the channel. We're in Geiranger today.
Yep.
Did I pronounce that right?
Yep, I think so. Well, Geirangerfjord.
Woke up this morning, looked at the views, amazing. First thing I said was wowzers, wasn't it?
Yep.
And I've drove Peter mad all morning just saying wowzers, wowzers, but it's amazing, spectacular views, aren't they? Really lovely. So today in Geiranger, we're off on, what are we doing today?
We're doing a rib tour in a couple of hours, which is a rigid inflatable boat. So we're going to do a tour of the fjord in the boat for about an hour, and then we're going to head up to the top of the fjord, which is probably a couple of hours hike. So yeah, we've got that to look forward to.
Yeah, really good fun that'll be, won't it? Exhausting, but good fun. So yeah, next little adventure, day 4.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'd be lovely.
Yeah, we're filming on the back of the ship at the moment. I'm going to pan the camera around and just show you. Bear with me. There we go.
So I'm not sure where we are. What's this place called on the back of the ship?
This is the 270 lounge.
So it's 270 lounge. And they do, what do they do here? Like shows and things like
shows,
that?
entertainment.
Yeah.
There'll probably be a disco in here.
Yeah.
And it's a nice lounge.
Yeah. We haven't been in here before. It's such a big ship, so this is the first time we've been in here. So yeah. So yeah, hopefully all in all we're going to have a really good day, aren't we?
Yeah, we need to go and get prepared, and we'll head off on our rib tour, and we'll catch you a little bit later.
Yeah, catch you later. See you later, guys.
See ya. So this jetty has just been put in place. It's some massive flotation buoys, and that should save a lot of time trying to tender 4,000 people off the ship. This gangplank is going to get 4,000 passengers off the ship. Right, so here's Lisa getting into a rib boat suit. You look like a spaceman by the time this is on. Alright? Bit alright? Good? Good. Tuck everything in. Alright. Job done. What's your space helmet?
Here goes Pete getting his rib ride suit on. Look at us. So funny. Like a little hut thing. And these all the outfits. So well done, Pete. Got it all on. Alright, Pete. How you getting on? Yeah? There goes. All ready to rock? Perfect. All done? Is it a bit? No, it fits great, doesn't it? It's a little twirl. Little wee. Very nice. Well done, Petey. Woo.
What are you putting places for?
Getting nervous.
Getting nervous?
We really hope you enjoy our video. Please like, comment and subscribe.
Right, is everyone awake? Yeah. Perfect. So, welcome to the Geirangerfjord.
Thank you.
We not only came to Geirangerfjord, we also came to a World UNESCO Heritage Site. Why are we in such a site? It's not because of the waterfalls, but it's because of the farms. Geirangerfjord shows all the elements that make a fjord in a very dramatic way. You can see the waterfalls, you can see where the glaciers carved out the bedrock, but more importantly you can see how people used to interact with this environment throughout the ages. Because if you look up to the Seven Sisters right there, you can see the farm of Cliffside. That's an old mountain farm, 250 meters over the fjord. Nobody lives there anymore, of course. On the other side you can see one too, the farm of Suitor. The way to get to the farm is to hike, and there's only one way up, and in this case you can actually see the path. So you go ashore where you see the forest, you go into the forest, and if you follow up with the treetops to the left you can kind of see the slope go up. You go around and then it's not long before you reach the farm. It's about 250 meters over the fjord. Quite a steep hike, as you can see. Back in the day, however, it used to be a bit steeper. It was so steep that you'd have to use a ladder to get to the last part. So you'd row your boat from Geiranger, moor over there, hike up, use the ladder, hike a bit more, visit the Suitor family. They would be incredibly surprised to see you. I doubt they got loads of visitors. What did he found? They would give you a glass of goat milk and a piece of goat cheese, as they were goat farmers. So we were getting to that. So you had a great time, come down, use the ladder again, hike all the way down, row your boat back to Geiranger without too much issues. Sometimes, however, that ladder would disappear. Coincidentally, the day that the taxman was supposed to arrive, because every time the farmer knew it was time to pay tax, he would be on the lookout, and if he saw the taxman rowing his boat around the corner, he'd run down to take away the ladder. The taxman wouldn't find out until he was all the way up there, couldn't make it to the farm, had to come all the way back to Geiranger without money. You can imagine that didn't fly for too long, and after a while they used dynamite to finish the path up to the farm. So it's quite a good indication how stubborn those people used to be. I'm going to show you some more farms in a bit. I will explain a bit more about why they are there, but let us first go and pay a visit to the Seven Sisters. Only last week they came back home. Before that it was only two or three sisters, but now finally the snow starts to melt a bit faster, and then we can get the sisters out to play.
Brilliant.
Right, Seven Sisters.
All good.
Looks like we have most of the sisters home today, even though they get blown out a little bit. They're about 300 meters high. And no matter how many times I come every day, they never look the same. If they get blown out by the wind, there's more water, there's less water, more sisters, less sisters. But now on our national day, they decided to come out to play. deepest part of the fjord. It's about 260 meters deep.
Wow.
So that's by no means a record of the deepest fjord in Norway. That's over 1,000 meters deeper. That's the Fjord. But it's still relatively special as it's a quite narrow fjord. It goes down quite steep. We can see the end of the fjord. If you go to the left, you will go to Hellesøy. That's where the ferry came from. We just passed. And if you go out to the right, you will go the direction where you came from this morning with the ship, all the way to the ocean. It's about 100 kilometers to the ocean, give and take. Also here there are some farms to see. The first one just before we leave the fjord. It's a bit difficult to see because it's a grey building on a greyish mountainside, but you can see the white boathouse, and on the right of it you see the farm of Matvik. A bit easier to get to than the farms we have seen so far. But it's a very special farm nonetheless, because it has a subtropical climate in the summer. It has a microclimate. It has to do with the mountain behind it. It's a south-facing farm, so it gets a lot of sun hours during the day. And it's also very protected from the northern wind, so from the colder winds. And during the sunny day, the rocket's charged by the sun and keeps the heat for a very long time. It was so warm they were able to grow apricots during the summer. So you can imagine it was very special in Norway. There are a lot of other fruit trees like plums, pears and apples, all very high yielding trees. Over 100 goats, and that's what gave it the name Matvik. Mat means food and Vik means bay or cove, if you will. So that was the food bay. It was a farm that was abandoned the latest only in the 1960s, so not even that long ago. So from Matvik we go to the farm right there, Syltøy. A little less fortunate name, because Syltøy means starvation or hunger. They got a little bit of a mock name. They didn't have any direct sunlight for until mid-May, and they have a lot of wind hitting the farm also, so they were not so fortunate. They only had goats and chickens basically. And then there's one more farm. I don't know if you've already seen it, but it's all the way up on the side of the mountain right there. That's the farm of Blomberg. That's 450 meters over the fjord. It's absolutely insane. People thought it was a good idea to have a farm all the way up there. Last time I hiked up there, it took me a little over an hour. It's one of the most beautiful views you can get in the fjord, but it's also one of the crazier hikes, because you go up this mountainside, you have to zigzag. Quite steep, quite slippery, and by now you might think, why did those crazy Norwegians build farms in such weird spots? And I think indeed they must have been a little bit crazy. But they started farming there in the Middle Ages. We're talking about 600-700 years ago, so there's not much written records about why they were there. But if we look to that time frame in the history of Norway, it was not even called Norway back then. It was very dire. It was a very tough time. A lot of famine, a lot of disease would roam around the countries, except around this area actually. Or here they were less bad off than anywhere else in Norway, because here they had a lot of fish to catch in the fjord. They had a lot of deer to hunt up in the mountains, and the soil on top of the mountains and in the valley was very fertile. So if you compare that to closer to the coast, for example, they would not be able to hunt so much. If you would go closer land inward, you would not be able to fish so much. So here they have the most things to fall back on. So if one day the harvest, or one year the harvest fell through, they had fish, they had deer, and the other way around. That made the population of Geiranger explode. Unlike today, now there's about 150-ish people living here all year round. Back then it was closer to 3,000, so they needed much more space. They found these spots close to their families, close to the good conditions, and that's when they kept farming here for, in this case, the 1940s. Now all the farms are abandoned, but they're still being maintained because of this World UNESCO Heritage Site. Let us cross the fjord right here. We passed the Syltøy farm a bit closer. You will see the farm is built from two layers. The ground floor was the barn. That's where they kept their animals, and on top of that the house was built in such a way the footprint of the farm, the size of the farm, was the smallest possible, which is a good thing, because in the winter there would be a lot of avalanches, a lot of snow drifts, and it also allowed people to share the heat with the animals, because they just needed one fire for both them and their animals. Let's go check it out, and then we go to big waterfall across the Seven Sisters.
So when you get over
Very nice.
Friaren would translate to the wooer or the suitor. And of course, if you have a suitor on this side and Seven Sisters on the other side, I think I can spare you the legend. You can figure out where it goes. But we still call him this wooer, so he didn't get lucky. He didn't woo his ways, let's say.
do you get any whales or anything in the fjord?
Sometimes, yes, but not whales, dolphins. Like a porpoise, sometimes orca. That's very rare, but it happens every now and then, yeah. Yeah, you can. It's about 6 degrees Celsius, so I'll go for it. It's quite cold, but it happens in the summer. Especially now, there's a lot of melting water coming into the fjord, so that presses the temperature a bit down. But during the summer, when it's a good summer and the snow melts, the waterfalls disappear, but the temperature of the fjord goes up quite quick. But of course, there's a lot of tide difference as well, so it's always been different.
got this far, then well done and thanks very much. We'd also be really grateful if you would like the video and subscribe to our channel.